Oh my god! Okay, it's happening. It's happening. Everybody stay calm. Stay calm. Stay freaking calm. Ottawa 2 CPL. Let's go! Just 3 short weeks ago, the thought of having 8 teams in the Canadian Premier League this coming 2020 season, or even just the thought of having professional soccer in Ottawa within the next few years seemed like a pipe dream. And now, today, both of those dreams have become a reality. Atletico Madrid, the La Liga giants, have purchased a Canadian Premier League expansion team in our nation's capital, bringing the CPL to Ottawa. After the death of the Ottawa Fury back in December, it seemed like the CPL had no hope of coming to Ottawa anytime soon. And yet, here we are. This isn't the first time that Atletico Madrid has done a move like this in North America, as in 2013, when San Luis's team in Liga MX, San Luis FC, was going to relocate. Atletico Madrid bought a team in San Luis called Atletico San Luis, and they started playing the very next season in the Ascencio MX, which is below Liga MX. It's the second tier of Mexican soccer, but they put a team right back there immediately, picking up the fans that were salaried by San Luis FC leaving, keeping professional soccer in that city, and basically giving them great brand recognition. And now here they are doing essentially the exact same thing in Ottawa, seeing Ottawa Fury fold and immediately swooping in, getting a team in Ottawa and having them ready to join the CPL. The Canadian partner in this endeavor is Jeff Hunt, who owns part of the Red Blacks and the Ottawa 67s, which are both owned by OSEG. So the Ottawa Sports and Entertainment Group didn't want a soccer team in Ottawa, but one of the guys who owns parts of both the teams that OSEG controls now is the main source of contact on the Canada side of things for this Ottawa team, which is kind of interesting. The stadium that they will be playing out of is TD Place, which was notably the home of the Ottawa Fury and is the home of the Ottawa Red Blacks. So a third CPL team playing in a CFL stadium, and this just makes the transition for Atletico Madrid to run this team even easier because they're moving into a stadium that a soccer team has already lived in for the past few years. So they're going into a stadium that already has a setup for professional soccer and already knows the deal of professional soccer. And again, it is a CFL stadium, so it does have a 24,000 capacity, which is quite high for the CPL. We already saw last year Winnipeg and Hamilton, despite having pretty good attendances, the stadiums looked pretty empty just because of the absolute size of them. But this is good still because it means that the team will be able to grow into its own stadium as the CPL gets bigger and bigger, and they won't have to start looking for new stadiums like right away, like Halifax might have to. So playing in TD Place, well, it's not my favorite soccer field. It is a good advantage for this team to move into the Ottawa Fury's old home and basically just be already set up and ready to go there. Now, from today's press release, we didn't get much. Basically, we found out that an Ottawa team was joining the CPL run by Atletico Madrid, which we all already knew from like a week and a half ago. The one interesting piece of big news that came out today that we did not know and we actually were thinking was not going to happen is that they are going to start play in April for the spring season. Now, most people thought that Ottawa would start play in the CPL in the fall season because as things stand right now, they have February, March, and then April, kind of, to get this team fully up and running, to get 23 players, to get a coach, to get management teams, to get equipment staff, to basically set themselves up to be ready to play in the CPL in 3 months. So that's an incredibly short amount of time for someone to basically make a soccer team from scratch. However, they do have all the Atletico Madrid connections, so if anyone can get a soccer team started up that quickly, it's someone with the resources that Atletico Madrid has. Now, this leaves us basically 2.5 months now for us to get all the players announced, coach announced, team name announcement, which is going to be big. I'm hearing a lot of rumors that it could be Athletic Ottawa. It would make sense given that their team in San Luis is Atletico San Luis. So for it to again be an Athletic Ottawa, Atletico Ottawa, Ottawa Atletico, something like that would make sense because it would have to be on par with the Atletico Madrid branding. And then the kit and crest reveal, which you'd imagine is going to happen at the same time as the new kit reveals for the original 7 Canadian Premier League teams. But now for the 2020 CPL season, we have a balanced schedule with 8 teams, which is fantastic. We have no more odd number of 7 teams trying to make it work, teams having bye weeks all the time, just the scheduling nightmare that is 7 teams. With 8 teams, nice and easy, even number. You have 14 spring season games and 14 fall season games, which means you can play each team home and away in both seasons, and it just works out so nice, and you can tell that the CPL's original schedule was designed for 8 teams, and now to finally get that 8th team is going to make this season run that much more smoothly. Now, the one thing still kind of up in the air about this team that I think is on a lot of people's minds is, should they now be allowed to play in the 2020 Canadian Championship? Because, of course, the Canadian Championship last year had 13 teams with the Ottawa Fury, and then they've already released a schedule for this year's Canadian Championship with a 12-team format, and it's a lot simpler than the 13-team mess that it was last year. But now, of course, we have a 13th team that would be eligible to be in the Canadian Championship. However, and this is a big one, I think they should not be allowed to play in this year's Canadian Championship because the Canadian Soccer Association has a deadline that a team must be registered by to play in the Canadian Championship. That's why they made the schedule already, is that deadline came and went, and they knew the teams that they would have in the Canadian Championship, and they made the schedule. Now, you can't have this Ottawa team joining now after that date and forcing their way into the Canadian Championship. The date to be in the Canadian Championship came and went, and the Canadian Soccer Association, what are they going to do? They have to get a schedule out by a certain time. They can't now rework the schedule to add this Ottawa team into there. And for that reason, I think for this year for Ottawa not to be in the Canadian Championship, it just makes complete sense. So yeah, that is it for this video. Ottawa is in the CPL. If you like this, hit like. If you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, link is down below in the description, and I will see you next time.